Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be talking about my labor and delivery / C-section video. And if you want this something you want to see, then just keep watching. So if you have been familiar with my update videos, you would know that I really was for a VBAC and that I had a C-section with my first child, my daughter, and that with my baby boy, I wanted to have a VBAC. And yeah, that was not really possible this time, but I'll let you know the events that led up to my C-section and what happened and so on. So I'm gonna try to make this video as short as I can. And so at 38 weeks, I went in for my scheduled appointment, and they were like, "This baby is pretty big," and they was feeling around, and I guess it felt weird the way the baby was positioned. So they checked me, and he's like, "Your baby is head up now," and it like broke my heart because that's all I've been preparing myself for, a vaginal birth. And I just to hear that he, that could be the thing stopping me, is his head being up and not down, was just like, okay. I'm thinking, I'm nervous about the birth, vaginal birth, a VBAC, and I'm nervous about, going into labor. I didn't experience it with my daughter, so I was nervous that I wasn't, it was going to happen the same way with him, because with my daughter, I went to almost 41 weeks and nothing happened, not one contraction, and they end up inducing me, and that didn't go so good. She didn't like being induced, and she was stressed out and so on, so had to have a C-section with her. And this one, hearing that, everything, I still had time to go into labor on my own, but just hearing that he turned head up was just like, oh my gosh, really, this would be the thing that made me not get a vaginal birth. So anyways, they were like, came up with a game plan and decided to schedule a C-section for 40 weeks, being that I was already, they said I was carrying a big baby, and going to 41 weeks. And if I actually did go into labor after 40 weeks, the baby would be probably really big. And having a vaginal birth, they prefer to have the smaller size baby than a bigger size baby. And going that long, my baby would most likely be pretty big. So with that being said, my due date 40-week appointment, I went in for my scheduled C-section, and the doctor was so nice. She was actually for me to have a VBAC. She supported my decision. I just met her because in military base, you really don't have a set doctor, so it's whoever is basically working that day, or whoever is available and don't have anybody on their schedule. So that's who I ended up with, and she was nice. I liked her at my appointment. She gave me tips on how to try to get the baby to turn around. So I was like, okay, yeah, I like her, because during my whole pregnancy, I really didn't have, it's kind of hard because you're just not one doctor that fully sees your vision and what you want. And so when I seen her come in, it was like a breath of fresh air. So yeah, my so I'm in the come to the hospital, whatever. They hook me up, my vitals, they stick me with the needle and all that stuff, and then my doctor comes in, and she's like, okay, how are you feeling? Asked me anything. Did the baby turn around? I was like, no, I still feel, his head right here. And so she was like, well, did they check you? Let's just check. So I'm sitting there like, yeah, let's just check. I'm got like 45 minutes before they take me back there for my C-section. And she's like, well, they checked me, and she's like, your baby is head down. And I got immediately, I was just like happy, like, yes, like, oh my goodness, I can, have a vaginal birth. Thinking in my head, like, oh my goodness, yes, thank you, baby boy, for turning. I'm 40 weeks, and that's definitely not likely to happen. So when she's saying all that, she makes up a game plan, and she was like, okay, you're 40 weeks. We're going to give you till Thursday. And I can't remember what day my 40 week, Wednesday. That's when my weeks to go over. So I was 40 weeks on that Wednesday. It was going to give me to next Thursday. So I would have been 41 weeks in a day to go into labor or whatever. So what she did was she stripped my membranes or whatever, and she was like, we'll see you on for an appointment on Tuesday to check up on the baby, you know, check your vitals and everything, make sure he has enough amniotic fluid. And yeah, and after that, you know, if nothing happens, then we'll have to do it that Thursday. And I was just like, okay. I was like on cloud nine. So it's just like, okay, yeah, he's gonna, you know, we're gonna do this. I'm not getting a C-section. And so, yeah, well, before I left, she stripped my membranes. I was only a centimeter, so she did it, and I was high, so she really couldn't reach it that well, but she got a hold of it and she stripped me as the best way she can. She said she didn't get to go all the way around, so she did it like halfway, and I was just hoping that that was enough. And so I went home and I was expecting something to happen. Nothing really happened. But what I did decide to do last pregnancy, I did not do any walking with my daughter. So this one, I was like, babe, we're going to walk. So almost every day I was walking, you know, trying to walk at least as much as I could because I was in pain and I was having the side pain. I can't even think of the word right now. Sciatica pain. And yeah, just wasn't fun. So I would walk as much as I could, which wasn't that long, and you know, come in the house. And I was having Braxton hits like on and off, you know, more often after 40 weeks, but it wasn't like nothing that was like hard, you know, painful or even getting intense. It was just like really light ones that came like every now and then. And so yeah, and then so one day I woke up and I would be sad on some days, like, oh man, nothing today. Let's hopefully tomorrow I start having contractions or something. And I remember that Monday I woke up and I was having like light cramps, and I was like, okay. I remember reading, and some people were saying that that was like a sign, you know, of contractions. You know, like it was very light contractions. So I was just like, let me cook breakfast, eat, and everything, and then we'll go out for a walk. Since I'm having these cramps, let me just, you know, do some stuff that may intensify it. So, and plus I know the baby's head down now, so I can like walk and put some pressure on this baby, you know, make the baby drop lower. So, yeah, I was walking, and I think I try to push myself to walk longer than usual because I'm like, this may be the day. And so I did just that and walked a little longer. And when we came home, I think we got home around like 12, and that first like hour and a half I wasn't feeling nothing, and I was like kind of bummed again, like, okay, that didn't work. And then all of a sudden I started getting my Braxton hits, but you know, I wasn't thinking nothing of them. I was just like, okay, my Braxton hits contractions, and they start getting more intense and more regular. Like they were coming like legit every 2 minutes. I am not lying. And the first hour I really wasn't thinking anything about it, like, okay, because I've had Braxton Hicks with this pregnancy, and they, you know, I had them a couple times, and some days I have them a lot, some days I don't. But I started noticing, like, okay, telling my husband, like, babe, it's been an hour and I've been having like so many Braxton hits. They've been coming like every 2 minutes. And you know, texting my friends, asking them stuff, and like, okay, is this normal, whatever. And like 3 hours passed, I'm still having Braxton hits contractions. They're not painful, but they're getting intense, and they're like every 2 minutes. So I end up, I'm not gonna say time specifics that will cause me to think, you guys, and this video will be super long. So I'm gonna just go through the events of what happened, and yeah, tell you that way, because if I try to say, oh, it was 8 o'clock when it went in, I would stop and have to think about it. And yeah, I just want this video to not be too long. So yeah, I end up going to the hospital after still having Braxton hits, and they're getting more intense, where I'm like leaning over and I'm like, I'm actually I'm actually having contractions, and I'm excited because I really wanted that vaginal birth. So usually people won't be excited for, you know, contractions, obviously, but my crazy tail was. And even though they hurt, I was thinking of the bigger picture, like, okay, I'm gonna meet my son and I won't have to get cut again. So anyways, yeah, I'm having these contractions. I end up calling. They tell me to come in so they can just see what's going on. And I go in, and, you know, hoping for the best. They end up telling me that I am. After they stuck me, you guys, they stuck me again and told me I'm just still 1 centimeter, and that I need basically, hold on. First, when I walked in, you guys, one of the nurses was like, "Oh, your C-section is tomorrow, right?" And I'm like, "No, my C-section is Thursday." They obviously something happened and they messed up my schedule because the doctor was new that I had or whatever. Either way, they messed up my schedule and they had me down for a C-section on Tuesday, and I was like, that's wrong. 'Cause my C-section is not Tuesday, and so they were giving me a hard time. So then here it comes, because this is not a doctor I've had before, and the military base is basically for C-sections. They're really not supportive that much of vaginal, VBACs, and they rather just not do it. And so, after as soon as she walked in, I knew it was someone that was just gonna be, you know, doubtful of what I had going, what I wanted to do, and I was just like, I don't feel like dealing with someone trying to push a C-section down my throat, basically. And so she was talking to me and whatever, and was like how I needed to have a C-section, how it was the best route to go, blah blah blah, and because I'm not dilated and all this stuff. And then I was like, and basically her reason for why I need to have my C-section Tuesday is because of scheduling. They said, yeah, this is so dumb. They said Thursdays are usually the day that they don't do C-sections, so they don't have anyone scheduled to just do C-sections that day or whatever, and how it would be a problem if I was like, okay, I cut her short. I was like, listen, I'm already frustrated and just a little annoyed and everything. I'm like, listen, so you're telling me that I can't have a I have to have a C-section on Tuesday because of scheduling? I was like, do you understand this is my body? I'm getting cut again. Like, figure it out, because I'm definitely not having a C-section on Tuesday. I was like, do y'all understand what you're saying to me? Basically, it sounds crazy, but that's basically what she was saying. I was like, no. I was like, my body is fine. My body is finally doing something after 40 weeks. I'm not about to just jump and say, oh yeah, I'll just take the C-section now, after I'm having contractions. Like, I'm like, no, I'm going to see how it goes and how this goes, and see what's to come tomorrow and the day after that. My C-section is not until Thursday, and it's not my mistake that I didn't make the mistake, so I'm not gonna sit there and like, what are you saying? Like, come on now. She really made me mad. When she left, I cried. Like, seriously? Like, that's her reason? And it was just so stressful. Basically was like, you're not in labor, you're not in active labor, it's not preterm labor, because I was term. It was you're in, I can't remember the word, you guys, sorry, but it was labor, but it wasn't active labor, so it wasn't labor that was gonna basically do anything. And that like really like messed me up. I was just like, what, man? So they sent me home, and I went home still having contractions every like 2 3 minutes, and they were getting intense. I went home and I sat up in the bed because I could not do anything. They were like so intense. I was trying to breathe through them and everything, and I was just like, babe, like, I can't do this the whole night. This is like, these contractions hurt so bad. Because basically they told us not to come in unless I had like a bloody show or my water broke or something like that, or if my contractions were, I think, 4 to 5 minutes apart and lasting like over 40 seconds, I think, between 40 and 60 seconds, I think. And it wasn't. They were like every 2 minutes, and they were not every 2 minutes, and they were lasting for about 30 something seconds. And it was they were painful. And luckily my husband stayed up with me, and he, was timing them, and he's just like definitely helped me get through that. And I was just like, I can't do this all night. Like, I can't. And I went to the bathroom and I wiped and I was like, babe, I'm bleeding a lot. Like, it's a lot of blood. So I was like, I think this is my bloody show. And he was like, okay, you want me to call the hospital and let them know? And he was like, and I was like, yeah. And he did, and it was like, we need to come in right away. And I was like, thank you, because I could not take another of this. I think I was there for like 3 hours just in pain, breathing through my contractions, and it just hurt so bad. And I was just like, I hope I'm dilated. So go back in. And they're like, oh, so you're back. You look like you're really in pain now. Blah, blah, blah. Go in, they hook me up again, all that stuff. And no, they didn't hook me up, actually. I think they hooked the baby up, but I don't think they was going to give me another needle, but they didn't right away. I don't think so. I don't think. But anyway, so the lady doctor came in and she checked me and she's like, you're still 1 centimeter and I think you're like 30% effaced. Because at first I was zero. I think I was zero effaced. No, I think I was 25% effaced. And when I came back in, I was 30% effaced or something like that. And I was just like, oh my goodness, what is going on? So here they go again, talking about C-sections and stuff. And I'm just like, I'm not trying to hear anything about a C-section. Like, yes, I'm waiting till Thursday. Just send me home. I'll deal with the pain, whatever. Like, I'm not getting a C-section. And so she's like, okay, what I can do is I can strip your membranes again and hopefully that'll help. I didn't want it because it hurts. You guys, it really hurts. And I was like, oh. And she was like, this is the only chance of you possibly having a vaginal birth, you know, with it jumpstarting your labor. This is the only thing that we can do for you. And so I was like, okay, just go ahead. And so as she's going in to check me and I'm in pain, she's like, oh my goodness. Like, mind you, she checked me a minute before. She checked me and then she talked to me about the C-section and stuff again. And after I shut that down, she was like, okay, well, can we strip your membranes? That's blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yes. And she checked me and was like, oh my goodness, you're 3 centimeters now and you're 50% effaced. And I was like, what? Like, how does that happen in like a matter of 2 minutes? Either way, I was like happy. She was like, oh my goodness. She's like, we're gonna admit you and yeah, we get you started on your vitals and get you in your room and all that stuff. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, it's happening. Like, how the heck did I go from 1 to 3 and to like 30% effaced to 50? It's just like, it's crazy, that jump. And I was just like, I was happy because I was like, okay, I'm in labor. I've never been in labor on my own by myself, and I was just excited. Just, I could see the, you know, having a vaginal birth in my future. I could see it. I could see the light and everything. And I was just like, okay, we good. I'm about to have this vaginal birth, and then soon I'm gonna be able to have an epidural. Okay, this all gonna be good. And so I'm in there laboring, whatever, and yeah, everything's going good. They checked me and I think I did more, but I didn't dilate more. And it was like, okay. And they started me on like very light Pitocin, because when you had a C-section and the scar of the old C-section and all that stuff, the opening, when you put Pitocin in the mix, they said it's likely to, you know, cause it to open up, the womb to open up. So I was like, okay. So even though they don't recommend that, they have like a very light dosage. I can't even say the word, you guys. Dosage that they use for people that has had a C-section. And so I was okay with them doing it. They were very, you know, careful and, you know, checking me constantly, making sure everything was okay. And, you know, I felt good about it. I wasn't stressing about that. And they came in and decided to break my water, and I was okay with that too. But that was after I got my epidural. because I was like, I don't know what type of pain comes after your water breaks. So how about you just, I get my epidural and then you break my water. And I think when I got my epidural, I was 5. I was still 3, but right after they gave me my epidural, they checked at me and I went to 5 centimeters and I was 70% effaced, I think. Going along, and basically they check me again, and a couple hours later, and nothing happened. Nothing's been happening for like 5 hours. Basically, I go 5 hours and nothing's happening. And in my head, I feel like, man, it's either the epidural or when they broke my water, they broke it too soon. I should have probably let that happen on its own. Since everything else, was just happening on its own, I should have just probably let that was my thinking. Like it slowed me down. It stopped the process. I don't know, it's just I was feeling that at the time. And so it was going, they was like, okay, we need to, it's been so long, we can't keep you on this Pitocin for too long and whatever. So they was like, I think it was it was like 7 o'clock, and they were like, we really need to do this C-section because blah 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 blah. And so me and my husband talked about it, and we were like, okay, we're gonna give it to 8 o'clock. We're gonna go to 8 and see what happens, and if I didn't do any progress, not to 6, I didn't go to 6 or anything, then we'll do the C-section at 8. So yeah, they basically, it came and nothing happened when they checked me. And I was just like, I don't even remember if I cried. I was just like numb to the fact, because I was already preparing myself like, okay, you're gonna have to get another C-section. So, just get your mind together and, just get it together. So I just preparing myself, like I wasn't seeing nothing. I was just in a zone, just like blank stare, like, okay, yeah, you're gonna get another C-section. Didn't get your vbac. My main thing is I really, wanted to experience a vaginal birth, and that was my main thing. And obviously I didn't want to get cut again. I didn't want to have to go through the recovery process, and I have my daughter at home. I wanted to make sure I could fully do everything that I was doing before with her, just so many things. And so I was like, well, just got to get this C-section. And they were saying that only a portion of his head was like sticking through, like you could see, they could feel. And I guess his head was too big, that it wasn't enough pressure on my cervix. It wasn't causing me to dilate or wasn't causing me to thin or anything, because usually the pressure helps out a whole lot. And so I was just like, that's a good reason for it, not to for me not to progress. And I was just like, whatever, let's just do this. I was getting prepared, my hair net on and all that stuff. And so I had my C-section, and serious, I was like, my son, I had a 9-pound baby, like all 9.10 basically. Like, you gotta be kidding me. And it kind of made sense of why I probably wasn't progressing like I should have been, because my baby was just so big. And yeah, I was kind of, okay with it, after just knowing that it's just really, that's what it was. He was a big boy. And what could I do? Nothing really. So that's my story. And yeah, it was a very stressful like month or two for me, dealing with the doctors and dealing with him turning around and dealing with the C-sections and the this and the that. So yeah, that is my story. And if I had one tip to give anyone that's trying to have a VBAC, is find the best doctor for you. Like, find the best doctor. You don't want a doctor that even has like a little tiny bit of, doubt in you having a VBAC, because you can have all the support from anyone around you, but if your doctor does not support you having a VBAC, then it just makes everything like a lot worse. Them supporting you the best and having faith in what your vision is for your birth and all that stuff is 100% better. Seriously, like them supporting you is obviously they're delivering your child, and you know your life is in their hands. So you know, when they feel like you can do this and that, you feel like you can do it too, and it makes it a lot easier and a lot less stressful on you. So when me and my husband, if we decide to have another child, I'm definitely going to be, and we're still in the military, no military hospitals for me anymore. If I decide to go that route of either a vaginal birth or just another C-section, I would definitely go to a birthing center, you know, and do it there. I would not even like bother with it, trying to do it through the military hospitals. Definitely not. So that would be my number one tip, is just to find the perfect, amazing doctor that supports you 100%. And yeah, so I will show you guys him, and that will be the end of this video. So guys, I'm back, glasses and all, and I have my baby boy with me. This is baby Zane, all swaddled. This is my baby boy, my 9.9 pound baby. That's not 9.9 anymore. He's at his 2-week appointment, he was like 10.2. No, he was 10.4 pounds at his 10-week appointment. So he's a month old now, a little over a month in a couple of days. So yeah, and this is him. Probably like 11 pounds now, my big boy. All right, you guys, thank you for watching this video. I hope you liked it. I hope it was somehow helpful to you in yours, whatever, with your delivery. If you're wanting a VBAC, I wish you the best of luck, and I hope you're very successful with that. And yeah, bye.